Hi, I'm Patrick Gibbs, and this is the Slug Popcorn Podcast. Today, I'm here catching up with some people that I've known for a very long time to talk about a movie that you may or may not have seen. If you haven't seen it, you need to be at the Salt Lake Film Society on the 29th of May for the 35th anniversary screening of Troll 2, the best, worst movie of all time. And if you have seen Troll 2, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Now, in addition to being a film critic, I am also a cast member of Troll 2. The title shot of the movie is actually my twin brother, Paul, and I. You can probably guess which one is Paul.
Well,
running,
my name's on here, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
running toward the camera, dressed as not trolls, goblins.
Because there are no trolls in the movie, which has nothing to do with the movie Troll.
But I'm here today with some longtime friends and fellow cast members. Let's go around the circle. Or the Brady Bunch thingy, whatever you call this configuration. Paul, introduce yourself.
I'm Paul Gibbs. I'm Patrick's twin brother. Like him, I was a goblin in Troll 2. These days, I am an independent filmmaker and healthcare activist and stay-at-home dad.
And Jason Stedman Eves.
Yeah, I'm Jason Stedman Eves in Troll 2 as Jason Stedman, but I play Drew in Troll 2. If you don't know who that is, it's the infamous stretching scene. You may have seen that. And so that's me. I stretch very well before I run in the woods. I still do. Very important. So that's me. And nowadays, I am working in tech, over a sales team in tech, and living in Salt Lake City, Utah, with my husband and two dogs.
Which is better than a dog and two husbands.
Exactly. Oh, significantly better. I can't even
Yes.
That's a different part of Utah.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
And Stephen Hatch.
I am Steve Hatch or Stephen Hatch. I go by both. And I played a goblin, but I don't even think my goblin had a name, but I think it should have been Monty or something. I don't even think I was credited at all in this movie. So,
Really?
I think Monty would have been a great goblin name. Now I've been running a chocolate shop in the Avenues, Hatch Family Chocolates, for 20 something years. So I mostly eat chocolate and I talk shit all day long. That's it. So that's my life in a nutshell.
That sounds amazing.
It's
It
really
does,
good.
but I'm just you do you, but never say chocolate and shit in the same sentence. It's
No, I get it.
It's a rule of life.
Yeah.
I gotta eat an amazing stuff, talk with amazing people every day, all day long. That's my life.
If you've never been to Hatch Family Chocolates, I could spend much more time glowingly endorsing Hatch Family Chocolates and why you need to experience that than I could on Troll 2, because I'm actually much more fond of Hatch Family Chocolates.
It is. It's chocolate's amazing. Best hot chocolate in the state.
It's
One of the best. It's
an
unbelievable.
awesome place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really great. So,
but it's not green hot chocolate. It's not like the veggie stuff. So maybe we should make that.
Yeah, it's not made with Nilbog milk.
No.
Yeah.
We can
Heaven
work
only
on
knows
that.
what would happen. I know.
So we were all pretty young back then. I know for me, I was 14.
14,
as was Paul. How old were you guys?
I was 17.
17. Wow. Steve?
And I think I was like right around 18. I don't know. 17,
I think
18.
so.
Yeah.
So I know for me, at that age, Paul and I had just been with an agency for we just signed with an agent in December of the previous year. So, and this was summer, so it wasn't a very long time. And suddenly we got in this movie, and it was a big, big moment. We got cast in this movie that was shooting, and all we knew was it was called Goblins and that we were going to play goblins. And Paul and I were huge Gremlins fans at the time. So it was like, this is it. Today, Utah, tomorrow, Hollywood. It was like a big moment. What are your memories of, let's start with Jason. What are your memories of the moment when you found out that you were cast in this movie?
Kind of same thing. So I wanted to go into acting, did a lot of theater acting in my teenage years. And so I wanted to try my hand at film acting. So I got an agent as well and had done some commercials, local stuff, things like that. And then I remember when I went to go audition for Troll 2, right from the start was a very interesting experience up in Park City.
I hate to interrupt you, but we have to welcome a very special guest who has now just showed up.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
We are now joined by Darren Ewing, who played the role of Arnold the Geek in a previous life back when he was still alive. Thank you for joining us. You don't look
good.
Like you don't look. You've looked better.
It's kicking my ass today. Lisa, my roommate, gave it to me. She went to the doctor, said that it's just a cold, but I have hiccups and cold chills, and just miserable. So
sounds awful, man.
For me, it's really interesting to hear about people's experiences with agents and auditions and stuff. Because for us, we had the agent, but it was just a phone call of, "Hey, you guys, you're in this." We didn't have to audition or anything.
Well, we were there to be short. That was weird.
Yeah, and to this day, it is the only group that we have ever been in. The two, for anyone who's watching who doesn't know, Paul and I are 5'4" and shrinking, but we were only 14 years old. But I think that we were the two tallest of the Goblins, which is
probably.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm like 3'8", 3'9" is probably what I was.
Well, and there was one other day that they had kids, two kids that showed up that shot for one day and kind of couldn't hack it, which no diss on them. I mean,
they probably did a better job than I did.
Well,
it was,
I still,
some of those days standing around for hours and hours under hot lights in all of that latex and burlap was.
I was surprised last year so I've seen this movie once in the past 10 or 12 years, and it was last year at the Salt Lake Film Society, and watching the sequence when the goblins come out and are surrounding everybody, I started to feel angry because I remember we were under the lights standing and not allowed to take our masks off for 13 hours that day.
Not allowed to take your masks off?
No, we had the masks on for, I mean, I think we may have taken them off at one point for something, but I mean, a couple, there were these two twins, Jennifer and Angela.
They weren't twins, but they were sisters.
Oh, sisters, right. I just remember that one of them, when she took her mask off, she had this huge heat blister on her face. And from there, it was actually that day was just such a bad day for the trolls. And we were just like, goblins. It wasn't even like bad treatment for actors. We were non-actors, we were props. And at that point, I mean, again, we were minors on the set. So our mother pulled one of the producers, Massimo, aside and talked to him about like if he was familiar with what OSHA was and some things like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like really confronted him and on behalf of all of the trolls. And we were, after that, people would start coming to us and asking, do you need to take your mask off? Do you need a drink of water? Things like that.
Good for
I
your
mean,
mom.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's honestly my favorite memory of that movie is the way she championed us, because I mean, it was bad. And like he suddenly understood a lot more English when she pulled him aside.
It's so interesting because like it either it was a cultural thing or just amateur hour or whatever. They just didn't think like like I remember like when they lost my yellow shirt, and they're just like, hey, go buy a yellow shirt. And I was just like, first of all, you lost my yellow shirt.
Yeah.
How far could it have gone,
Yeah.
Number two, it's just like I have to, so I go find like this thrift store something in Morgan and buy like a yellow shirt. And and then I remember one time we're on set and they're like, hey, will you grab those lights and put them over here? I'm like, oh, what? Like it's like they didn't even think about, there was just like, okay.
The single wildest moment to me is that double-decker bologna sandwich at the end of the movie.
Is Darren trying to get in?
Is,
Or
I haven't seen it.
I heard something beep.
Might have been Darren, but and the double-decker bologna sandwich at the end of the movie, that was supposed to be a hamburger in the script, and there was a Wendy's hamburger that they had on the set, and somebody ate it.
I could totally see that.
Yeah, and they were so they managed to find somehow some hamburger buns and this package of bologna, and just threw that together. And like it was Mike Stevenson who said, "I'll call it a double-decker bologna sandwich."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for him. That became infamous.
It did. Yeah, because they were standing around like, what do we call this thing? Can we call it a hamburger? And he may not remember that, but he did say double-decker bologna sandwich. That's what I'm going to call it. Yeah.
I remember the day. Well, it was the day when they put Darren in the pot. We were in the witch's castle, the Queen's castle, and while they were like doing that, and poor Darren, same thing. Darren stood in the pot forever. But Michael and his mom came, and they like gave some of them a Book of Mormon. I don't know if you've heard this story.
Yeah.
And they couldn't understand like why. They're like why are you like giving us this? Like what? And they were like completely like blown off. They're like, well, we trying to give like the spill, and
Speaking of vegetarian goblins, what if God has spoken to the prophet these latter days?
Exactly. But they were like so like confused, like why would you like give us this? And I remember like watching this whole interaction because I'm sitting there waiting for Darren to get makeup, but like you said, long days, everything was just long. And then this whole thing, I'm just like, well, that was interesting. There was always just this weird shit going on,
Yeah,
that's when you pull out more popcorn and just start watching.
Yeah.
I know.
If there's anybody who has just like embraced and had fun with the cult status of this movie, I think it's you, Darren. You've just really been just a great face of the movie. What do you have any particular memories?
I have a lot of memories. I remember I thought it was a lot of fun, but I was also I was very nervous. I always want to do my best. I always want to do a good job when I go on set, and I want to be memorized, and I want to do that. I know that when I was chasing Christine through the woods, and the line is "Stop, I say, stop, I say," and it didn't. I just kind of aside to him, and I said that's not really how it sounds. And then it ended up being such a difficult thing to get any of the dialogue changed, because they were all there and ready to do it. And Film Mirage knows what they're doing. They know how to make a movie, know how to make it quick and cheap. And so after that, I stopped making suggestions, and I just did. So I'm going through the woods and I'm saying stop. I was trying to say stop. I said stop, and you would just try to retrofit it so that it made more sense. In hindsight, though, I actually really love the script, and I think it's great that we're all novices. Most of us were Mormon, and it was just such a crazy experience. I was playing drums in the orchestra pit at Utah Musical Theater when I got the part, and drove up to Morgan to film. To film the Oh My God scenes, and it's where I met Deborah, and Deborah and I remained fast friends right through to the very end before she passed away. And now I was at a screening for Troll 2 in Colorado Springs, and I couldn't get through it. And it's just all of these people now, you and Jason and George, you're my family. And so I can't complain. Also, the fact, like, the last 4 movies that I've been cast in, I didn't have to audition. They just said, "Would you be in our movie?" And I told them, "Yeah, I need to make SAG scale, and I need my own hotel room so that I can rest up. And my needs are pretty simple." And they said yes. So I just finished a movie in Atlanta, Georgia called Marriage Bites, and it went great. It went really, really well, and I'm already in the sequel. So it was with Troll 2, it felt like a double-edged sword. It certainly wasn't my goal to be known as the worst actor in the world. If you go to IMDb and you look at Johnny Depp, he's on the list of the greatest actors of all time, and then you go to the worst actors of all time, and I'm always right up there with Keanu Reeves.
Nice.
that was not my goal, and I struggled with it for a long time. But now it's come full circle, and I have met the most amazing people and had the most amazing experiences, and so I love the movie. I can't get through it right now, but I really do love the movie.
Thank you. And I don't know if not being able to get through it has anything to do with, I will say, for me, so, and I'll get into it. I stepped away. I could not watch the movie it was about 11 or 12 years that I wouldn't even say the name Troll 2, because, and I'll get into that experience. But the reason I got back into it last year when we were asked to come to Salt Lake Film Society was I wanted to celebrate Deborah. And for those who we're talking about, Deborah Reed, who played Credence the Witch, who gives just the most delightfully, just unapologetic, over-the-top performance. And one of the things I loved about Deborah is you could never quite tell what she was always proud of that performance and that role. And I never fully got a feel for her on how she felt about whether it was self-deprecating or what, but she was proud of it and loved being Credence. Always, I get emotional talking. I really loved Deborah. She was a wonderful person, and she would. I mean, Paul and I are 50 now. She would still call us her goblin children for years after that, and so to me, the biggest reason I've gotten back into it is to celebrate her and how much she meant to me. She's just a terrific person. But it can be hard to watch the movie since she's passed. I gotta say that what you just said, in thinking about it and putting this together, the thing that I really love about this group that we have is that, like, sounds like drunken "I love you guys" thing, but like I don't even think of this group as like my Troll 2 friends anymore. You guys are all just, we've been friends forever, and that's the thing that I love about the movie so much is the people and the connections there. So for me, I had a really strange experience with this film. Some of us, like Darren and Jason, would get recognized probably occasionally for the film before the documentary. As Steve mentioned, we didn't get, our names weren't on the credits. Nobody, as the Goblins, we never got recognized for this until the documentary Best Worst Movie. And suddenly there was this huge fandom that really embraced Troll 2 and some really cool people. I mean, met some amazing Troll 2 fans that just have this wonderful spirit of love for it. And then
You
there's
need to
some,
take off, Darren.
Brad Paisley.
Oh,
Brad Paisley was wearing
a
Troll
shirt
2
recently.
shirt in
Wow.
one of his promotional videos.
I shared that with my family recently.
Yeah.
wow.
It still goes on.
That is crazy.
I was so excited when I found out that Patton Oswalt was a fan.
Yes.
Oh,
I-
Darren knows
I'm
that.
a huge fan.
Troll 2. Do you remember that film?
Oh, good Lord, yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, I was in that movie, and
The guy that says, "Oh my God."
yeah, that's me. Yes. So we got you this little memento.
There's some really just fantastic Troll 2 fans out there. There are also some interesting ones, is what I would describe it. And interesting is not all bad. I remember at the Nilbog invasion gathering in Morgan, Utah, there was this guy there who he came from I don't remember what country he was from, but he was from somewhere in Europe, and he was like this intense Troll 2 fan who would just like go out in the woods and like cosplay and LARP Troll 2. Just really devoted fans.
Yeah, he's in the documentary, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But after the documentary, we started getting known for being Troll 2, and like I was really easygoing about like accepting Facebook friend requests from fans and things like that, and just being part of that community. And there was a guy that who started talking to me that was a little odd. It reached a point where he was like leaving enough weird stuff on my Facebook wall that people were starting to ask me, who is this guy? And what's the deal with him? And long story short, I ended up being pretty seriously stalked by this guy, who became very, very obsessed. The police had to get involved. It was a lot of lies, and when he lost his temper, it was scary. And so it was just this really surreal experience to go from nobody knew that I was in this movie to suddenly like being stalked over Troll 2. I mean, like the big story, a day when he was going to move out to Utah just to be friends, and when I come out to Utah, can we watch Troll 2 together? And I'm like, okay, yeah, we can watch it. Can we watch it every day? And it got weirder than that.
Oh,
but he was
interesting.
totally
We
serious.
can watch it from your cell room.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I mean, like I had to say, I don't watch it more than like once a year, and that was like actually really hard for him to hear that I didn't want to watch it every day. But yes, so I mean, like I literally ended up in therapy over this experience. It was that traumatic. So I stepped away from it for a long time. But I actually, interestingly enough, I got over that through bizarre story. I was hanging out with, I was on a short road trip with Daniel Logan, who plays young Boba Fett in Star Wars Episode 2. It was just him and me. And we were on this long drive. We were making a movie, and I brought up this story, and we just started talking about our experiences with fans of the movies that we'd been in. And, you know, for me, it's Troll 2. For him, it's Star Wars. And
But, you know, Star Wars fans can really run the gamut from cool people to toxic as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, any cult fans for sure.
Absolutely. And he's good friends with Jake Lloyd, who was Anakin, who had some very bad experiences. But it was when he started really talking to me about his experiences of being a kid from nowhere in New Zealand, suddenly ending up in Star Wars and dealing with some of the hostility, the mix of hostility and fame and everything from it, and reconciling that. And he said, ultimately, whatever anyone thinks about me or that movie or anything, it was my experience, and nobody can ever take that away from me. And don't let anybody ever take it away from you. And that was just a turning point for me, where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stop pretending I wasn't in Troll 2 and get back to it. And it's like still a surreal thing that I have young Boba Fett to thank for getting me over my Troll 2 phobia. But yeah, that's my crazy life-changing story about it.
As an FYI, we have 8 minutes left. And
yes.
And I probably got to go too. But
yeah. So if any of you could go back, what's that?
I think when you're talking about all this, Jason, I know you've been in other movies too. Patrick and Paul, you've been in different movies. I've been in a few things, like just as an extra. And I think that the filming is one part of it, but the really cool part is like this, like the camaraderie that it brings all of us together afterwards. Like I never hung out with you, Jason, on set, but like now, like I feel like I have a lot in common with you. Yeah. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity that it all kind of linked us together.
Oh, I completely agree, Stephen. Like when Darren was saying that, like that, there's so many. I fortunately never had a bad experience with this. I was even thinking like it's just all been so positive, and so with the fans and just with all of it. But the biggest thing is just reconnecting. Not just reconnecting, it's just like, we just became like this family, and then we were just that for like the rest of our lives, and we still are, and it was with those of us that traveled a lot with it and went to a lot of screenings and things like that, just getting like so close. And then obviously I've been in some of Patrick and Paul's short films, and Jason Wright put one of my songs in his book, and just like we're just like so interconnected. And I remember coming up to your chocolate shop this probably years ago, and I introduced you to my husband. It's just like it's and it's like we don't see each other as much as we used to, like when there was a lot of screenings and all that going on. But you just kind of catch when you see each other again, you just kind of like have that bond, and you just kind of start where you stopped, and that's the number one best thing about this whole thing.
Absolutely,
it is.
Absolutely.
And
that's how I feel about it too. And Darren talked about saying he has come to love the script and love the movie. I haven't, but as a movie, I can't say I love it. As a part of my life, I do.
Yeah.
And that is
absolutely
very special to me.
It is, and I have to. I wish he were here so I could still here so I can embarrass him with it. But I haven't like seriously pursued acting in a while. But I probably 10 years ago or so. I don't know. Everything is. I just say 10 years for
blurs
everything.
together.
Yeah, but there was a Disney Channel film called Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas. That like I went to a lot of auditions for a while, and I never made it for anything. This one I got a call back, and this character was a short, nerdy tech billionaire kind of guy. And I showed up, and there was nobody else there for the callback. And I'm like, I think I've got this part. I really felt like I had it. Like there was one other actor there, and he was clearly not there for that role. He was tall and everything. Like, there's nobody else here. I've got this. The door to Jeff Johnson, the casting director's office, opens, and in walks Darren Ewing. And we looked at each other and we said, we're up for the same part. And the part literally came down to the two of us. And we drove home together after the audition and said, you know what? One of us is getting this part.
And that is why Darren moved, because you got rid of him.
Yes. No. Yes. No. The thing is, we just like really made this. I had this great moment where we just said, this part is going to one of us. So whichever one it is, we're happy. And then Darren got the part. And when I would tell people that story, they're like, that must have been so frustrating. You're like, aren't you just like irritated? And I'm like, what? I almost nailed this part, but in losing it, I lost it to not only a dear friend, but somebody who I've looked up to since I was 14 years old, and who I remember being on a set with as a kid and thinking, and that guy's an actor, I want to be like him. And that's really special to me. And I'll always have really fond memories of not getting that part, because it came down to me and Darren, and those kind of connections that we all have that have just kept us together over the years are why this movie is always going to be a special thing. All right. Well, I think we're out of time, but thank you everybody so much for joining us for this. And again, the Troll 2 35th anniversary screening at Salt Lake Film Society on Thursday, May 29th. Be there. It's going to be a blast. If you haven't seen Troll,
that makes me feel old.
It does. I know.
Right? Right?
It's crazy. I mean, it was just a few years ago.
Yeah, it really, that every time I watch the movie and I see the poster of Michael Keaton as Batman on Joshua's wall and think that was the summer that we were shooting that movie, it just really makes me think.
I remember the first big screening in New York up at Citizens Brigade. I remember I'm like going, 17 years ago, this movie, this movie was made, and now we're at 35. Crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. Well,
go Nilbog.
Go Nilbog. Everybody come to the screening and then join us again in another 30 years when we're celebrating the 60th anniversary of Troll 2. Let's see how many of us make it to that. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. Great to see you guys.
We'll see you next week, guys. Okay.
See you next week.
Okay. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.